everybody, thanks for joining me for this video. This is going to be a review on a foundation from Giorgio Armani. It's the Luminous Silk Foundation. I have this foundation in the shade 5. It's not a cheap foundation. It costs 60 bucks. So you can imagine my expectations of a foundation that's going to cost $60. You know what I'm saying? I really want it to be amazing and do everything that I want it to do. And when I got this, this was applied on me by the makeup artist there. They put it on part of my face and I instantly noticed that I really enjoyed the finish that this gave my skin. And as time went on and I looked at myself in a few different, bathroom mirrors, I could tell that it really wasn't amazing coverage and the staying power wasn't quite doing it for me either, because this was not set with any sort of powder when this was tried on me. And as I've tried it and experimented with it over the past months in different circumstances and not applied powder or applied powder over the top, I find that that does make a big difference for this foundation on my skin. I've applied it in several different ways. My preferred method is using my Sigma F80 brush. I get a couple pumps of this, spread it out on my skin, and then really buff it in with this brush all over. That's the way I feel like I get the most even application. I would describe this as a medium coverage foundation. I feel like even when I try to build it up maybe over certain areas, I don't necessarily feel like I notice a great deal of extra coverage with it. A little bit extra coverage, but I notice even more luminosity building up too. This is not a foundation where I notice like flecks of glitter or shimmer or anything like that, but it does have that luminous finish as the name implies. So if you build it upon itself, you will notice an even more luminous finish out of this product. So after application of just the foundation, no other products, I do notice that my skin has, a really nice finish to it. You can look really closely at it and it seems really fresh, natural. I'm wearing this foundation today, but in the day that I was kind of testing this and really keeping a close eye on it as the day progressed, I had put on some concealer, no powder to set it with, a little bit of highlight and blush, but beyond that, I didn't like set it all over with a powder. And I tested it out that way to kind of reaffirm my thoughts on this, which were that it does not have fabulous staying power when just used on its own. At least for me, it's gonna break down in the T-zone. It did not accentuate dry, patchy areas, which I do have a few of those as well. You might say, well, don't you just want to throw a powder to set any foundation? And yes, that does make sense, and that's something I do a lot. But this foundation, Luminous Silk, it's all about the finish. That's the best part about this foundation, is the look on the skin, the finish, which is not entirely matte, it's definitely not shimmery, it's just like a great finish. And you don't want to feel like you have to cover that up with powder. When I was wearing this more in the summer months, I noticed my skin was really able to break this down in my T-zone after about 2/3 of the day had passed. So that's testing it without a powder to set it. When I put just a little bit of powder on top of this, especially like a really lightweight powder, I notice a vast difference in staying power. For example, today I'm wearing my NYX Mineral powder. This is the Set It and Don't Fret It, and it's in light medium. This is a very, very fine, lightweight powder. It takes away a little bit of the luminous finish of this foundation, but it does help the staying power a lot. But should we feel like we've got to do a whole lot to assist the $60 foundation to work exactly like we want it to? I know we're all different skin types. I'm explaining this from my point of view, but this is not something I would repurchase again. I actually feel like one of the most comparable drugstore foundations that I've used to this, which actually has a lot of the same qualities and performs and behaves in a very similar way, is the L'Oreal True Match Luminous. Like the Giorgio Armani, this is a very liquidy texture. It does not have sparkle and shimmer, but it does give the skin kind of a luminous finish. Staying power is not outstanding with this. Coverage is like this, kind of a medium coverage. But if you're wanting to, say, experiment or dip your toe in the water of what a luminous foundation might be like on your skin, this might be a lower cost way to just test that out. Hopefully I described the characteristics of this foundation well enough for you to understand how it works, but this is not something I would repurchase. I would be so curious to hear your thoughts on this if you've tried it as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.